The weather radar system helps you to avoid thunderstorms and associated turbulence by transmitting high-powered radio waves using the antenna located in the radome. Antenna servos control the scanning and tilt angle, compensating for aircraft pitch and roll. Operation depends upon correct signals from the AHARS. You should not normally operate the antenna on ground, but if you do, make sure that you're not within 100 feet of people. You're not within 500 feet of large metallic objects, and that refueling is not in progress. Weather radar is superimposed on the MFD in arc, not full mode. A second function is ground mapping, tilting the antenna at the ground to give contours of coasts, rivers, etc. However, the optional Enhanced Awareness display is more commonly used for this. You select Weather Radar with this push button on an EFIS control panel. It toggles Weather Radar, Enhanced Terrain, or both off. You can also control the brightness of the superimposed area for Weather Radar or Enhanced Terrain. The Weather Radar is controlled from this panel. In standby, the Weather Radar antenna transceiver is on, but not transmitting. You see the standby indication on the MFD. In test, you see this test pattern, and the transmitter is inhibited from transmitting. In on, you see the normal weather radar pattern, with indications of low, medium, and high-intensity precipitation echoes. This is the default mode when the weather radar is switched on and corresponds to the WX button. When you press the Weather Radar Alert button, you see this annunciation, and any red storm cells flash. Press the WX button to return to ordinary Weather Radar mode. If there is a red storm cell within plus or minus 10 degrees of your heading, more than 2 miles across, and 80 to 240 miles away, you see a flashing magenta target alert and 2 red arcs. Ground mapping is used to show contours of prominent features such as coastlines and rivers. Touch the ground map button. The colours are, from weakest to strongest echo, cyan, yellow and magenta, so that you don't confuse ground mapping with weather. You get this annunciation. In ground mapping mode only, the gain knob can be turned to adjust the antenna gain to improve the image. Now the important tilt knob that controls the antenna angle. The antenna tilt range is 15 degrees up to 15 degrees down. But note that this is the angle to the horizon, not to the aircraft attitude. The angle is shown here. In map mode, you should tilt the antenna down until you get the desired amount of terrain. In weather mode, you should aim for the lowest part of the cloud. This contains the most water and gives the best echoes. Tilt the antenna down until terrain comes into view. Then tilt up approximately 2 degrees beyond where the terrain disappears. Note that ice, fog or drizzle will not produce measurable radar echoes. In fact, here is a table of reflectivity levels. If you try to engage the weather radar on ground, you'll get a flashing message. Depending on what button you pressed. Display off indicates that weather radar is selected on by the weather radar panel, but display is not enabled on the EFIS control panel. The antenna is normally stabilized to aircraft attitude. But if you see a stabilization fail message, pulling this knob will turn off stabilization. Finally, you may see WX fail.